Welcome to Life Stories. Today, we invite you to embark on the inspiring journey of Olivia Clarke, a resilient self-taught artist who overcomes personal heartbreak and discovers her true strength. From the depths of a humiliating divorce court to unveiling hidden secrets within a wealthy family, Olivia's story is one of courage, love, and profound transformation. Experience her emotional battles, heartfelt connections, and the invaluable lessons she learns about empathy and self-worth. Don't miss out on this captivating tale. Subscribe to our channel to start Olivia's story today and stay tuned for more incredible life stories that celebrate the human spirit. Olivia Clarke stood at the entrance of the courthouse, her heart pounding like a relentless drum in her chest. The grand structure loomed above her, its marble facade reflecting the muted autumn sunlight. The wind teased the fallen leaves into a swirling dance around her, a stark contrast to the chaos brewing within her. Today was the day she would face the culmination of years of silent suffering, the day she would seek the freedom she had long denied herself. As she stepped into the bustling lobby, the cacophony of voices, clattering shoes, and the distant hum of reporters filled her ears. Lawyers in crisp suits, stern-faced judges, and a myriad of spectators from all walks of life had gathered, each person bearing their own burdens and hopes. Olivia clutched her portfolio tightly, the weight of her self-taught artistry pressing against her side like an anchor she couldn't escape. Her husband, William Clarke, sat across the room with his usual air of condescension, flanked by his mother, Jessica Cross. Olivia had always felt the sting of Jessica's disapproval, but today it felt like the walls were closing in. Beside William, his mistress, Isabella, exuded a cold, polished confidence that only deepened Olivia's sense of inadequacy. Isabella's perfectly tailored suit and sculpted figure were a stark contrast to Olivia's worn heels and faded blue dress. A dress that had seen better days and, much like Olivia, had been held together by sheer resilience. Olivia navigated the courtroom lobby with careful steps, avoiding the puddles that mirrored her own tumultuous emotions. Her old blue dress, once a symbol of simpler times, now felt like a shackle, a reminder of the life she had sacrificed. Her hair was tied back in a loose bun, strands escaping to frame her face softly, and her makeup was minimal, just enough to highlight her natural beauty. A beauty that William had long since dismissed. When her turn came, Olivia approached courtroom number 2 with a mixture of dread and determination. The room was already filled with the usual suspects, lawyers preparing their arguments, law enforcement personnel maintaining order, and journalists eager to capture every moment of the high-profile divorce case. Olivia felt eyes on her, the weight of judgment pressing down, but she steadied herself, taking a deep breath to quell the anxiety swirling within her. William looked up as she entered, a smirk playing on his lips. "You look like a draft horse, Olivia," he taunted, his voice dripping with disdain. Jessica raised an eyebrow, her expression unreadable, while Isabella snickered softly, unable to hide her amusement. Olivia felt a flush of humiliation but held her ground, refusing to let their mockery break her. The court clerk, a stern woman with glasses perched on the bridge of her nose, addressed Olivia in a dry tone. "Are you ready to proceed with the divorce hearing?" Olivia nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes, I'm ready." The clerk nodded and turned to the judge, signaling the start of the proceedings. The judge, an imposing man in his 50s with a stern demeanor, looked Olivia over thoughtfully. "We are now hearing the case of the divorce between Olivia Clarke and William Clarke. Olivia, please state your claims against the defendant." Summoning every ounce of courage, Olivia began. "William has cheated on me. He has been in a relationship for a long time," she declared, her voice gaining strength with each word. The judge turned to William. "What is your response, Mr. Clarke?" William glanced at his wife with a smirk before replying. "Yes. We've been living apart for quite a while. Olivia doesn't meet my expectations." His tone was laced with contempt. And who would want to live with such a scarecrow? Laughter rippled through the courtroom, stinging Olivia's ears like 1,000 tiny needles. A tear threatened to escape her eye, hot and burning down her cheek. She wanted to scream, to lash out against the injustice. But she knew that now was not the time. Instead, she clenched her fists, swallowing the tears, and began to unbutton her old dress. William's face twisted with rage, his voice rising in anger. "What are you doing, Olivia?" Ignoring him, Olivia continued to remove the dress. The silence in the courtroom was deafening as the fabric fell to the floor, a symbol of her past life, one that had been filled with unfulfilled dreams and silent sacrifices. Beneath the worn blue dress was a stunning turquoise gown, a secret she had kept hidden, saved from every penny William had been too stingy to spend on her. The dress was elegant, with a daring neckline that accentuated her figure, transforming her appearance entirely. Olivia reached for her hairpin, and in one swift motion, let her wavy, wheat-colored locks cascade down her shoulders, shimmering like a golden waterfall. Gasps filled the room, followed by a surge of applause. "Now that's a show," a voice from the back declared, capturing the attention of everyone present. Cameras clicked and smartphones were raised, eager to capture the dramatic transformation unfolding before them. Isabella's confident facade faltered, her pale complexion a stark contrast to her usual composed demeanor. Jessica Cross looked equally stunned, her previously cold expression now one of genuine surprise. Olivia stood tall, her head held high, radiating strength and newfound confidence. "I'm not a draft horse, William," she said calmly, her voice steady. "I'm an artist. And I create beauty. It's me who is filing for divorce, not you." The courtroom fell silent once more, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. Olivia's voice grew stronger as she continued. "William, you've mocked me and belittled me for far too long. I deserve better. And so does our son." Olivia then presented her evidence, photos, correspondence, and witness statements detailing William's infidelity. Each piece of evidence was meticulously laid out, leaving no room for doubt. Jessica tried to maintain her composure, her voice icy as she attempted to deflect the blame onto Olivia. "My son has always loved his wife. Olivia couldn't save the marriage, and now she's turning this into a circus." The judge listened carefully, his gaze shifting between Olivia and William. "I will make a decision at the next session," he declared, "which will take place in a week." He addressed William directly. "I would like to ask you to remain calm and composed going forward." Olivia felt a wave of relief wash over her. She had done it. She had stood up for herself, revealed her true self, and presented the truth to the court. Leaving the courtroom, she felt a sense of liberation she had never known before. The cold autumn air greeted her as she stepped outside, the wind whispering promises of a new beginning. She exhaled deeply, feeling the tension in her shoulders begin to ease. Olivia knew that this was just the first step, but it was a crucial one. For years, she had endured William's outbursts, his belittling remarks, and the suffocating weight of his expectations. Today, she had finally broken free from that cycle. Leaning against the cold wall of the courthouse, Olivia took a moment to collect her thoughts. She glanced down at her discarded old dress, a symbol of her past life that she was now ready to leave behind. With a newfound resolve, she buttoned up her coat and made her way to the bus stop, ready to embrace whatever the future held. The day had been long and emotionally draining, but for the first time in years, Olivia felt a glimmer of hope shining through the darkness. As she waited for the bus, Olivia reflected on the journey that had brought her to this moment. From her humble beginnings as a dishwasher in a cafeteria to becoming a self-taught artist, her path had been anything but easy. She had poured her heart and soul into her art, using it as an escape from the harsh realities of her life. And now, as she embarked on this new chapter, she realized that her true strength lay not in her talent alone, but in her ability to persevere through adversity. The bus arrived, its engine humming as it pulled up to the curb. Olivia stepped onto the vehicle, finding a seat by the window. As the bus began to move, she gazed out at the passing scenery, the vibrant hues of autumn leaves, the bustling streets of the city, and the distant skyline that promised endless possibilities. Olivia felt a sense of peace settle over her, knowing that she was finally on the path to reclaiming her life and her happiness. In that moment, Olivia understood that life's greatest lessons often come from the most challenging experiences. She had learned that self-worth cannot be measured by the opinions of others, and that true beauty lies in embracing one's authentic self. As the bus carried her forward, Olivia felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey that had led her here, ready to face whatever lay ahead with courage, love, and an unwavering belief in herself. The days following the courtroom had been a whirlwind for Olivia Clarke. Each morning, she woke with a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years, determined to rebuild her life from the ground up. The decision to pursue a commission from Michael Anderson felt like the right step, a way to channel her emotions into something tangible and beautiful. Olivia had spent countless hours refining her portfolio, showcasing her self-taught artistry that had grown from a mere passion to her lifeline. Securing this commission was not just about the financial relief it promised, but also about reclaiming her identity as an artist. Michael Anderson was a name that resonated with ambition and success. A young businessman with a sharp mind and an eye for detail. Michael had built his company from the ground up, earning respect in a city that thrived on innovation and competition. When Olivia received his request for a portrait of his 7-year-old son, Ethan, she felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Painting a child required a different kind of sensitivity, a way to capture the innocence and spirit that defined childhood. The morning of her first visit to the Anderson residence, Olivia dressed carefully, opting for a simple yet elegant outfit that reflected her newfound confidence. She carried her sketchbook and a carefully curated selection of paints, ready to immerse herself in the creative process. The address led her to a sprawling estate on the outskirts of the city, nestled among towering oak trees and meticulously maintained gardens. The grandeur of the house was intimidating, a stark contrast to the modest neighborhood she had called home. As Olivia approached the front door, it swung open to reveal a woman with impeccable style and an air of controlled composure. "Olivia, welcome," the woman greeted, her voice smooth yet carrying an undercurrent of authority. "I'm Stella Anderson, Michael's wife. Please, come in." Olivia stepped into the foyer, the scent of expensive perfume mingling with the subtle aroma of freshly cut flowers. The interior was a testament to refined taste. Crystal chandeliers hung from the high ceilings, and the walls were adorned with exquisite artwork that Olivia admired silently. She felt a pang of nervousness, acutely aware of the differences between her own humble surroundings and the opulence of the Anderson household. Stella led Olivia through the house, pointing out various rooms and sharing snippets about the family. Despite her polished exterior, there was something in Stella's demeanor that suggested a guarded nature, a hint of something beneath the surface that Olivia couldn't quite place. They finally arrived at the spacious living room, where a young boy was engrossed in playing with a toy train set. Ethan's bright eyes and infectious laughter immediately put Olivia at ease, reminding her of the joy and simplicity she sought to capture in her art. "Olivia, this is Ethan," Stella introduced, her tone neutral yet slightly distant. "He loves trains, so I thought it would be a good theme for his portrait." Olivia smiled warmly at the boy, kneeling down to his level. "Hi, Ethan. I can't wait to paint your portrait. Do you have a favorite train?" Ethan looked up, his face lighting up. "Yes, the blue one with the red engine. It's the fastest train ever." As Olivia began setting up her easel and organizing her materials, she couldn't help but notice the intricate details of the room, the polished wooden floors, the ornate fireplace, and the large windows that allowed natural light to flood in. creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. Yet, beneath this facade of perfection, Olivia sensed an underlying tension, especially emanating from Stella. Once Olivia was ready, Stella excused herself, leaving Olivia and Ethan to their time together. The boys' enthusiasm was contagious, and Olivia found herself genuinely enjoying the interaction. As she sketched the initial outlines, she felt a sense of calm wash over her, a stark contrast to the turmoil she had recently experienced. Painting Ethan felt like a breath of fresh air, a chance to focus on something pure and untainted by past grievances. However, Olivia's peace was short-lived. As she worked, she became aware of a figure in the doorway, an elderly man with a stern yet curious expression. "Good morning, Olivia," he greeted, his voice carrying a hint of authority that immediately commanded respect. "I'm Charles Cross, Ethan's grandfather." Charles Cross was a name Olivia had heard in passing, a once-renowned lawyer whose reputation had been the subject of many whispers and accolades. But seeing him in person, Olivia realized that time and circumstance had not been kind to him. His hair was graying, and the lines on his face spoke of years spent in courtrooms rather than in the warmth of family gatherings. There was a certain fragility to his presence, a contrast to the formidable persona he once embodied. "Mr. Cross, it's a pleasure to meet you," Olivia replied, standing up to offer a polite handshake. Charles shook her hand firmly, his grip conveying both strength and weariness. As they conversed, Olivia learned more about Charles's condition. He was suffering from early-stage dementia, a cruel twist of fate for someone who had once been the epitome of legal prowess and intellectual sharpness. Despite his struggles, Charles retained flashes of his former brilliance, his mind occasionally flickering back to the cases that had defined his career. Olivia felt a deep sense of empathy for Charles. Here was a man who had dedicated his life to seeking justice, now grappling with the loss of his cognitive faculties. She found herself wanting to help, to understand the man behind the accolades and the stern exterior. There was a sadness in his eyes, a longing for the days when his mind was as sharp as his suits. As the morning turned into afternoon, Olivia immersed herself in her work, capturing Ethan's playful spirit on the canvas. She noticed how Charles watched her with a mixture of curiosity and melancholy, often staring out the window as if searching for something beyond the walls of the Anderson residence. Olivia wondered about the stories he held, the battles he had fought both in and out of the courtroom. Despite the challenges of painting a child and the complexities of Charles's presence, Olivia felt a sense of fulfillment. Each brushstroke was a step away from her past and a move towards a future she was beginning to envision, one where her art was not just a refuge but a testament to her resilience and growth. She found solace in the act of creation, the way colors and forms allowed her to express emotions she had long kept buried. In the quiet moments between painting and conversation, Olivia began to sense a subtle tension between Stella and Charles. Stella's interactions with Charles were polite but distant, a professional courtesy that masked deeper undercurrents. Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to their relationship than met the eye, a dynamic that hinted at unresolved conflicts and hidden agendas. As the day drew to a close, Olivia stepped back to admire her work. The portrait of Ethan was vibrant and full of life, capturing the boy's essence with remarkable clarity. She felt a surge of pride and satisfaction, knowing that her art had once again provided a window into the soul of another person. Packing up her materials, Olivia took a moment to reflect on the day's events. She had faced new challenges, forged connections with people she barely knew, and navigated the complexities of a family shadowed by secrets and past glories. Yet, through it all, she felt a sense of purpose and determination. This commission was more than just a job, it was a chance to heal, to grow, and to embrace the beauty that life still held for her. As she bid farewell to the Anderson family, Olivia couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. She was beginning to understand that life's most profound lessons often come from unexpected places, and that true strength lies in the ability to rise above adversity with grace and empathy. With each step she took away from the luxurious estate, Olivia felt a little lighter, ready to face whatever the future had in store with an open heart and a steadfast spirit. The days following Olivia Clarke's departure from the Anderson estate were filled with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. Each morning, she woke with a renewed sense of purpose, eager to immerse herself in her art and leave behind the shadows of her tumultuous past. The commission from Michael Anderson had not only provided her with a financial lifeline but also with a pathway to rediscover her passion and talent. Yet, beneath her calm exterior, a storm of emotions brewed, remnants of the pain and humiliation she had endured in the courtroom. On her second visit to the Anderson residence, Olivia felt a subtle shift in the household's dynamic. The opulent surroundings remained unchanged: polished floors, exquisite furnishings, and walls adorned with masterpieces, but there was an undercurrent of tension that she couldn't quite place. As she set up her easel in the spacious living room, Olivia sensed that today would be different, that her presence was stirring something deeper within the household. Ethan, the 7-year-old boy, greeted her with the same infectious enthusiasm that had first brightened her morning. "Good morning, Olivia. Ready to paint?" he asked, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Olivia smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her. "Absolutely, Ethan. Let's capture your favorite train today." As she began sketching the outline of Ethan's beloved blue train with the red engine, Olivia couldn't help but notice the elderly man who had greeted her during her first visit. Charles Cross, Ethan's grandfather, now stood in the doorway, observing her with a mixture of curiosity and something else, something that hinted at unspoken burdens and hidden stories. "Good morning, Olivia," Charles greeted, his voice steady yet tinged with an unspoken sadness. "I hope I'm not interrupting." Olivia shook her head gently, rising to offer a more formal greeting. "Good morning, Mr. Cross. It's a pleasure to see you again." Charles approached slowly, his movements deliberate, each step seeming to carry the weight of his past. Olivia could sense the sharp intellect that once defined him, now softened by the early stages of dementia. His eyes, though clouded by time, still held a flicker of the formidable presence he was known for in legal circles. As they stood together, Olivia felt an unexpected connection, a bridge between their shared experiences of struggle and resilience. "How are you feeling today, Mr. Cross?" she asked, her voice gentle. Charles sighed, the sound heavy with years of unspoken grief. "Better, thank you. It's been a challenging time, but seeing Ethan so happy brings me some comfort." Olivia nodded, understanding that beneath his composed exterior lay a man grappling with the fragility of his mind. "Ethan has a wonderful spirit. It's a joy to paint him." They fell into a comfortable silence, the only sounds being Ethan's playful laughter and the soft rustling of autumn leaves outside the window. Olivia found herself drawn to Charles's presence, sensing a depth of experience and wisdom that transcended his current condition. There was a story behind those deeply set eyes, a narrative of battles fought and victories won within the courtroom's unforgiving walls. As the afternoon sun cast long shadows across the room, Charles turned to Olivia, his expression shifting from curiosity to something more intense. "Olivia, may I speak with you privately for a moment?" Taken aback by the sudden change in tone, Olivia nodded cautiously. "Of course, Mr. Cross. Is everything all right?" Charles glanced around, ensuring their conversation remained private. "I need to discuss something important with you. It's about Stella." Olivia felt a chill run down her spine. The name Stella Anderson had always carried an air of mystery, her interactions with Olivia polite yet distant. "What about Stella?" Olivia asked, trying to mask the unease creeping into her voice. Charles took a deep breath, his eyes meeting hers with a mixture of urgency and desperation. "I believe Stella is hiding something. something that could be detrimental to Michael and Ethan. Olivia's heart raced. The very thought of Stella concealing secrets within the grand walls of the Anderson estate was unsettling. "What makes you say that?" she inquired. Her curiosity piqued despite the apprehension gnawing at her. Charles leaned in closer, his voice lowering to a conspiratorial whisper. "I've noticed her late-night phone calls, her secretive meetings outside the house, and the way she always seems to be gathering information. It's as if she's planning something against us." Olivia struggled to process his words. "Are you certain, Mr. Cross? Stella has always conducted herself with professionalism." Charles shook his head slowly, his frustration evident. "I wish I were. But my instincts tell me there's more to her actions than meets the eye. I've seen her slip into hushed conversations and notice odd behaviors that don't align with the Stella I know." Olivia felt a surge of empathy for the elderly man. The thought of Stella plotting against her family was distressing. But she also recognized the signs of a man fighting against the erosion of his mind. "What can I do to help?" she asked, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. Charles looked at her with a mixture of hope and desperation. "I need someone I can trust to keep an eye on her, to observe and report any suspicious activities. You have a keen eye as an artist, and perhaps you can notice things others might overlook." Olivia hesitated, the gravity of his request settling over her like a heavy blanket. Spying on someone, even with good intentions, was a risky endeavor. "I want to help, Mr. Cross, but I'm not sure how I can be of assistance." Charles placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, his grip surprisingly strong. "I understand your reservations, but if there is even a chance that Stella poses a threat, we must act now to protect Michael and Ethan. Your support could make all the difference." Olivia took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. She glanced at Ethan, who was blissfully unaware of the underlying tension, his laughter echoing through the room like a beacon of innocence. "I'll do what I can, Mr. Cross. I care about your family and want to ensure their safety." A flicker of gratitude passed through Charles's eyes, momentarily dispelling the shadows of doubt that had clouded his thoughts. "Thank you, Olivia. I knew I could count on you." As Olivia returned to her work, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had stepped into a web of deceit and hidden agendas. The serenity of painting Ethan's portrait contrasted sharply with the turmoil brewing within the household. She found herself glancing at Stella more often, observing her interactions and searching for any sign of the secrets Charles had hinted at. That evening, as Olivia walked back to her rented apartment, her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. The encounter with Charles had opened a Pandora's box of uncertainties and fears. She had always prided herself on her ability to see beyond the surface, to capture the essence of her subjects through her art. Now, that same perceptiveness was being called upon to navigate the murky waters of deception and distrust. Sitting alone in her small, sparsely furnished living space, Olivia reflected on the profound lessons life had imparted upon her. She thought back to her humble beginnings, the struggles she had faced, and the resilience that had carried her through. Her journey from a dishwasher to a self-taught artist had been fraught with challenges, but each obstacle had only strengthened her resolve. The encounter with Charles had ignited a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years. It wasn't just about painting anymore, it was about protecting those she had come to care for and uncovering the truth buried beneath layers of pretense. Olivia realized that her art was more than a passion, it was a means of expression, a way to connect with others on a deeper level. Determined to rise to the occasion, Olivia began devising a plan to discreetly observe Stella. She knew she had to tread carefully, balancing her professional responsibilities with the delicate task of uncovering the truth. Her artistic skills would serve her well, allowing her to notice subtle changes and behaviors that others might overlook. The next morning, Olivia arrived at the Anderson estate with a renewed sense of determination. She greeted Ethan with a warm smile, feeling the familiar joy that painting him brought. As she set up her easel, She kept a vigilant eye on Stella, noting her interactions and any signs of suspicious behavior. The grandeur of the estate now seemed to hide secrets that Olivia was determined to unveil. Throughout the day, Olivia found herself oscillating between her role as an artist and her newfound responsibility as an observer. She painted with a heightened sense of awareness, each brushstroke infused with the emotions and tensions she sensed around her. The act of creation became intertwined with her mission to protect the Anderson family, adding a layer of complexity to her work. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the meticulously maintained gardens, Olivia felt a sense of accomplishment mixed with unease. She had made progress, noticing subtle cues that hinted at Stella's ulterior motives. Yet, the path ahead was still shrouded in uncertainty, and Olivia knew that the true extent of Stella's intentions had yet to be revealed. Walking back to her apartment that evening, Olivia couldn't help but feel a profound connection to the people she was helping. Her journey was no longer just about personal healing, it was about fostering trust, empathy, and resilience in the face of adversity. She had learned that true strength lay not in isolation, but in the bonds formed through shared struggles and unwavering support. As she settled into her small sanctuary, Olivia reflected on the day's events. She had taken her first steps toward uncovering the truth, guided by her intuition and the trust placed in her by Charles. The lessons she had learned about love, empathy, and the importance of standing up for what was right resonated deeply within her, shaping her into a stronger, more compassionate individual. With each passing day, Olivia felt herself growing, both as an artist and as a protector. She had embraced the challenges that came her way, finding beauty in the struggle and strength in her ability to persevere. The journey was far from over, but Olivia Clarke was ready to face whatever lay ahead. Armed with her art, her empathy, and an unwavering commitment to uncovering the truth. The following days were a delicate dance of trust and suspicion. Each morning, as the sun filtered through the curtains of her modest apartment, Olivia Clarke awoke with a renewed sense of determination. Her encounter with Charles Cross had ignited a spark within her, a burning desire to protect the Anderson family from the shadows that threatened to engulf them. Yet, with every step she took toward uncovering the truth, Olivia felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders, a reminder of the fragility of trust and the complexities of human relationships. Charles had been a steadfast presence in her life since her first visit to the Anderson estate. His wisdom and experience were a beacon of guidance, illuminating the path she now found herself on. Despite the early signs of dementia that clouded his mind, Charles's insights were sharp and his convictions unwavering. Olivia admired his resilience, a trait she herself had cultivated through years of silent suffering and unspoken strength. One crisp autumn morning, as Olivia prepared for her second session with Ethan, Charles approached her with a solemn expression. The leaves outside danced in the gentle breeze, their vibrant hues a stark contrast to the tension that hung heavy in the air. "Olivia," he began, his voice steady yet tinged with urgency. "I need your help." She looked up from her sketchbook, meeting his gaze with a mixture of curiosity and concern. "Of course, Mr. Cross. What can I do for you?" Charles took a deep breath, his eyes reflecting a depth of worry that Olivia hadn't seen before. "I believe Stella is hiding something. Something that could harm Michael and Ethan. I've noticed her late-night phone calls, her secretive meetings outside the house, and the way she meticulously gathers information. It's as if she's planning something against us." Olivia felt a chill run down her spine. The thought of Stella orchestrating deceit and manipulation was both unsettling and infuriating. "What makes you so certain, Mr. Cross?" Charles leaned in closer, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. "I've seen patterns in her behavior, subtle clues that suggest she's up to no good. I fear she's gathering compromising material to undermine Michael's reputation and, by extension, jeopardize Ethan's future." Olivia's mind raced as she processed his words. The gravity of the situation was overwhelming. But so was her sense of duty. "What do you need me to do?" Charles reached into his coat pocket and produced a small, discreet device. "I need you to monitor Stella's activities." "Olivia, I've arranged for a hidden camera that you can install in her office. It's imperative that we gather evidence without arousing suspicion." Olivia took the device, feeling its weight both physically and metaphorically. The idea of spying on someone, even with good intentions, conflicted with her own values of honesty and integrity. Yet, she couldn't ignore the sincerity in Charles's plea. "I understand, Mr. Cross. I'll do my best to help." That evening, Olivia found herself standing outside a local electronics store, the hidden camera clutched tightly in her hand. The bustling streets of the city were alive with the vibrant colors of autumn. Yet she felt a sense of foreboding. As she entered the store, the familiar hum of conversations and the soft lighting provided a comforting backdrop. But Olivia's nerves were anything but calm. She approached the counter, where a friendly salesperson greeted her with a warm smile. "Good evening. How can I help you today?" Olivia took a deep breath, steadying herself. "I need assistance setting up this camera," she said, holding up the device. "I'm not very familiar with the technical aspects." The salesperson examined the camera, nodding thoughtfully. "Of course. Let's get you set up. Do you have a specific location in mind where you'd like to install it?" Olivia hesitated for a moment, then replied, "Yes. It needs to be discreet. Stella's office is quite private, so it has to blend in seamlessly." They spent the next hour configuring the camera, adjusting angles, and testing the connectivity. Olivia appreciated the patience and expertise of the salesperson, who explained each step with clarity. By the time she left the store, the camera was ready, and Olivia felt a mix of relief and anxiety. She knew the importance of her mission, but the ethical implications weighed heavily on her conscience. Returning to the Anderson estate the next day, Olivia approached Stella's office with a sense of trepidation. The grand house was a world apart from her own humble abode, its opulence both awe-inspiring and intimidating. She navigated the ornate corridors, her heart pounding in her chest as she reached the door to Stella's study. Inside, the room was a haven of sophistication, sleek furniture, polished surfaces, and walls adorned with modern art. Olivia moved cautiously, searching for the perfect spot to install the camera. Her eyes settled on the decorative cornice above the window, where a vase of geraniums added a touch of color to the room. Behind the flowers, she found an ideal hiding place, one that would remain unnoticed by anyone passing by. With practiced ease, Olivia set up the camera, her hands steady despite the tension coursing through her veins. She connected the device to her smartphone, eager to see if it would capture the evidence they needed. But as she attempted to activate the camera, frustration mounted. The screen remained stubbornly black, refusing to display any image. "What's going on here?" she muttered to herself. Trying to troubleshoot the issue, she switched modes, adjusted the settings, but nothing seemed to work. Just as she was about to give up, Stella's voice pierced the silence from behind her. Stella began, her tone casual but her eyes scanning the room with a hint of suspicion. Olivia spun around, heart racing. "I was just, trying to set up some new equipment for work," she stammered, attempting to mask her embarrassment. "My phone must have run out of battery." Stella approached, her expression unreadable. "Is everything all right, Olivia? You seem a bit flustered." Olivia forced a smile, nodding. "Yes, everything's fine. Just a minor technical glitch." She quickly turned back to the camera, hoping Stella hadn't noticed the malfunction. "I think I need to try resetting it." Stella's gaze lingered on Olivia a moment longer. Then she gave a curt nod. "If you need any assistance, feel free to ask." Her tone was polite but carried an undercurrent of impatience. As Olivia hurriedly packed up her things, She couldn't shake the feeling that Stella was scrutinizing her more closely than usual. The camera, though still non-functional, had been a significant effort, and Olivia felt the sting of embarrassment for her inability to make it work. She glanced around the room one last time before making her exit, her mind racing with questions and doubts. Back in her rented apartment, Olivia sat down to assess the situation. The camera remained stubbornly unresponsive, and she couldn't help but wonder if Stella had somehow discovered her presence. The ethical dilemma weighed heavily on her. Was she doing the right thing by invading Stella's privacy, even if it meant protecting Michael and Ethan? As she pondered her next steps, Olivia reflected on the lessons life had taught her. She had always believed in the power of empathy and understanding, in seeing the good in people despite their flaws. But now, faced with the possibility of deceit and manipulation, she grappled with the conflict between her moral compass and her desire to protect those she cared about. Determined not to let frustration derail her mission, Olivia decided to try again the next day. She spent the evening researching troubleshooting techniques, reaching out to friends for advice, and preparing herself mentally for the challenges ahead. Her journey from a dishwasher to a self-taught artist had been fraught with obstacles, but each hurdle had only strengthened her resolve. The following morning, Olivia returned to the Anderson estate with renewed determination. She approached Stella's office once more, her heart pounding but her spirit unbroken. This time, she approached the task with a different strategy, carefully positioning herself to avoid drawing attention. As she worked, Olivia's thoughts wandered to the profound lessons she had learned through her struggles, lessons about resilience, the importance of standing up for oneself, and the transformative power of empathy. Finally, after several attempts, the camera sprang to life, the screen illuminating with a clear image of Stella's office. Olivia felt a surge of relief wash over her as she confirmed that the device was functioning correctly. The hidden camera was now operational, capturing every detail of Stella's movements and interactions. With the surveillance in place, Olivia felt a sense of accomplishment tempered by the gravity of her actions. She had crossed a line, venturing into a realm of secrecy and suspicion. But she knew it was a necessary step to protect Michael and Ethan from potential harm. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with ethical dilemmas and emotional turmoil. But Olivia was ready to navigate it with the strength and resilience she had cultivated over the years. As she left the estate, Olivia couldn't help but feel a deep sense of empathy for both Charles and Stella. In her pursuit of the truth, she had glimpsed the complexities of human nature, the capacity for both good and deceit, the struggles that lie beneath polished exteriors, and the profound impact of life's challenges on one's character. These reflections fortified her resolve, reminding her that every action carried weight and that true strength lay in the courage to face adversity with grace and compassion. The following week passed in a blur of anticipation and meticulous preparation for Olivia Clarke. The court had postponed the final decision on her divorce, granting her the crucial time needed to gather concrete evidence against Stella Anderson. Each day, Olivia balanced her duties as an artist with her clandestine mission to uncover the truth lurking beneath the polished veneer of the Anderson household. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on her, but her resolve remained unshaken. On the morning of the next court session, Olivia felt a mixture of anxiety and determination. She arrived at the courthouse early, her portfolio in hand, a testament to her unwavering commitment to justice. The grand marble steps that had once symbolized her entrapment now felt like the gateway to her liberation. As she entered the familiar lobby, the hum of voices and the shuffle of papers greeted her, a stark reminder of the battles fought within these walls. Sitting beside her was Charles Cross, his presence a comforting anchor amidst the storm of emotions swirling around her. Despite his struggles with dementia, Charles had proven to be an invaluable ally, his keen observations and steadfast belief in Olivia's integrity bolstering her confidence. Today, however, there was a palpable tension in the air, a sense that the confrontation they had been preparing for was imminent. As the session commenced, Olivia took a deep breath, her eyes meeting Michael Anderson's with a silent plea for support. Michael had been a pillar of strength throughout this ordeal, his unwavering belief in Olivia's truth providing her with the courage to stand tall against the deceit that had plagued her marriage. His presence was a balm to her wounded spirit, a reminder that love and empathy could triumph over betrayal and malice. The judge, an austere figure with a commanding presence, called the court to order. "We are here to finalize the divorce between Olivia Clarke and William Clarke. Olivia, you may present your case." Olivia rose, her heart pounding but her voice steady. "Your Honor, I have gathered substantial evidence of William's infidelity and deceit, orchestrated by his mistress, Stella Anderson. These documents, photos, and witness statements clearly demonstrate the extent of their betrayal and the emotional turmoil it has caused me." She methodically laid out the evidence, each piece meticulously organized to paint a comprehensive picture of the duplicity that had undermined her marriage. The courtroom watched in silent anticipation as Olivia presented her case, her passion and sincerity leaving no room for doubt. Michael sat beside her, his support unwavering, his eyes filled with pride and compassion. William Clarke, once the embodiment of confidence, now appeared disheveled and defeated. His attempts to undermine Olivia's credibility were futile against the irrefutable evidence she had presented. The room was thick with tension, the air heavy with the gravity of the revelations unfolding before them. Stella Anderson, always the picture of composure, struggled to maintain her facade. Her eyes darted nervously around the courtroom, her attempts to interject drowned out by Olivia's compelling testimony. Jessica Cross, William's mother, looked on with a mix of disappointment and resignation, her earlier support for her son waning in the face of undeniable truth. As Olivia concluded her presentation, she felt a surge of relief wash over her. The courtroom had borne witness to her resilience, her ability to rise above the anguish and present her truth with grace and dignity. She took a moment to steady herself, her gaze meeting Michael's once more before turning back to the judge. "Based on the evidence presented, it is clear that the marriage between Olivia Clarke and William Clarke is irreparably broken. I hereby grant the divorce and revoke William Clarke's rights to manage the joint assets. Furthermore, William Clarke is found guilty of fraud and shall be liable to an amount equal to the value of the assets in question." A collective gasp echoed through the courtroom, followed by a wave of applause. Olivia stood tall, her spirit unbroken, as the judge delivered the final verdict. The room seemed to exhale with her, the oppressive weight of deceit lifting in the wake of justice served. However, the moment of triumph was abruptly shattered when Stella Anderson, unable to contain her fury, lunged towards Charles Cross, who had been quietly observing the proceedings. A kitchen knife gleamed menacingly in her hand as she screamed, "You ruined my life." Time seemed to slow as Stella advanced, her eyes wild with desperation and rage. Without warning, she plunged the knife into Charles's shoulder, his face contorting in pain. Chaos erupted in the courtroom as Olivia reacted instinctively, rushing to Charles's side. "Calvin, stay with me," she whispered urgently, her hands deftly binding the wound with a nearby tablecloth. Michael sprang into action, his protective instincts overriding his fatigue. "Call the police," he commanded, his voice cutting through the turmoil. Stella, momentarily stunned by her own actions, seemed to regain some semblance of control, her eyes clouding with horror as she realized the gravity of her outburst. The courtroom fell into stunned silence, the spectators frozen in disbelief as Stella was swiftly restrained by security personnel. Olivia knelt beside Charles, her heart aching at the sight of his pain. "It's going to be all right, Calvin," she murmured soothingly, her empathy bridging the chasm of fear and confusion. As the authorities took Stella into custody, the room began to process the magnitude of what had transpired. Michael knelt beside Olivia, his expression one of profound gratitude and concern. "Thank you, Olivia. You saved us all. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes. A mixture of relief and sorrow washing over her. It's okay. Michael. She lost control. Charles, despite his injury, managed a faint smile. His eyes meeting Olivia's with a depth of gratitude that transcended words. Thank you. Olivia. You've done more than just help me. You've saved our family. The courtroom, once a battleground of accusations and humiliation, had transformed into a sanctuary of justice and healing. As Olivia stood, the applause now a heartfelt tribute to her courage. She felt a sense of fulfillment she had never known. The confrontation had been a harrowing ordeal, but it had also solidified the bonds of trust and empathy that had formed between her and the Anderson family. In the days that followed, the truth about Stella's malicious intentions became undeniable. The evidence Olivia had gathered, coupled with the shocking revelation of Stella's violent outburst, painted a clear picture of deceit and manipulation. Stella's arrest was swift. Her true nature laid bare for all to see. The Anderson family, once shadowed by suspicion and betrayal, began the process of healing and reconciliation. Charles Cross, once a figure of formidable presence now humbled by his condition, found solace in the unwavering support of Michael and Olivia. His reputation, once tarnished by the very woman he had trusted, was restored through Olivia's relentless pursuit of the truth. The courtroom had witnessed not just the dissolution of a marriage, but the triumph of integrity and compassion over deceit and malice. Olivia, having navigated the complexities of her own pain and emerged stronger, felt a profound sense of purpose. She had not only reclaimed her identity but had also forged meaningful connections founded on love, empathy, and mutual respect. The lessons she had learned about resilience, the importance of standing up for oneself, and the transformative power of empathy resonated deeply within her, shaping her into a beacon of hope and strength for those around her. As she reflected on the tumultuous events that had brought her to this moment, Olivia realized that true beauty lay not just in the art she created, but in the relationships she had nurtured and the lives she had touched. The courtroom, once a place of humiliation and despair, had become a symbol of her unwavering spirit and the enduring power of truth and love. The final court session loomed ahead like a beacon of hope, casting its warm light on the culmination of Olivia Clarke's arduous journey. The week had been a whirlwind of emotions, each day bringing her closer to the closure she so desperately sought. As she prepared for the last hearing, Olivia felt a profound sense of accomplishment and anticipation. The courtroom, once a place of humiliation and despair, had transformed into a sanctuary of justice and healing. On the morning of the final session, Olivia woke with a sense of serenity she hadn't felt in years. The sun streamed through the curtains, casting a golden hue across her modest apartment. She stood before the mirror, admiring her reflection in a simple yet elegant dress, a stark contrast to the worn blue garment that had symbolized her past struggles. Her hair, now free from its once concealed confines, cascaded softly around her shoulders, framing a face that radiated strength and newfound confidence. As she stepped out of her apartment, the crisp autumn air greeted her, a gentle reminder of the season's promise of change and renewal. The bus ride to the courthouse felt lighter this time, the vibrant colors of falling leaves mirroring the transformation she had undergone. Olivia's mind wandered to the lessons life had imparted upon her, lessons of resilience, empathy, and the enduring power of self-belief. Entering the courthouse, Olivia was met with familiar sights: the bustling lobby, the stern-faced judges, and the varied tapestry of individuals each bearing their own stories of triumph and tribulation. Today, however, there was an air of anticipation, a collective breath held in expectation of the final verdict. She made her way to courtroom number 2, where the previous hearings had unfolded, now imbued with a sense of culmination. Michael Anderson stood beside her, his presence a steady anchor amidst the swirling emotions. His eyes met hers, filled with pride and unwavering support. Olivia felt a surge of gratitude for the man who had stood by her through the darkest of times, whose love and empathy had been a lifeline guiding her toward the light. Their journey together had been unexpected, a testament to the unpredictable nature of life and love. As the judge entered the room, the courtroom settled into a respectful silence. Olivia took her seat, her heart pounding with a mixture of anxiety and hope. Charles Cross, now fully reconciled with Michael and Olivia, sat beside her, his earlier turmoil replaced by a quiet contentment. The transformation in him was palpable, a reflection of the healing that had taken place not just within the Anderson family, but within Olivia herself. The judge began, his voice measured and authoritative. "We are here to finalize the divorce between Olivia Clark and William Clark. Based on the evidence presented and the testimonies heard, we are ready to make a final decision." Olivia felt a wave of relief wash over her. The months of preparation, the emotional battles, and the unwavering support had led to this moment of closure. She glanced at Michael, their eyes meeting in silent communication, a bond forged through shared adversity and mutual respect. The judge continued, "I recognize the undeniable evidence of infidelity and deceit that has been brought forth. Olivia Clark, your courage and integrity in presenting the truth have been commendable. Therefore, I hereby dissolve the marriage between Olivia Clark and William Clark." A collective sigh of relief echoed through the courtroom, followed by a ripple of applause. Olivia felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, not of sorrow, but of profound joy and liberation. The verdict was not just a legal conclusion, but a personal triumph over the shadows that had long haunted her. As the courtroom began to disperse, Michael approached her, his expression one of deep admiration and affection. "You did it, Olivia. You stood up and showed them your true self. I'm so proud of you." Olivia smiled, feeling the weight of the past months lift from her shoulders. "Thank you, Michael. I couldn't have done it without your support." Their connection had deepened through the trials they had faced together, evolving from professional respect to a heartfelt romance. It was a love born out of empathy and shared experiences, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. In the days that followed, Olivia focused on completing Ethan's portrait, each brushstroke a reflection of her healing and growth. The final piece captured not just the boy's playful spirit, but the essence of a family reborn from the ashes of deceit. When the portrait was unveiled, it elicited smiles and warmth from all who saw it, a symbol of the beauty that can emerge from the most challenging circumstances. Michael, recognizing Olivia's talent and dedication, offered her a position as Ethan's nanny, blending her passion for art with the nurturing role she had grown into. It was a perfect harmony of professional and personal fulfillment, allowing Olivia to continue her artistic journey while fostering a loving environment for the boy she had come to cherish. As Olivia moved into Michael's home, the transition felt like a natural progression of her newfound life. The home was a sanctuary of love and creativity, filled with light and laughter. She found herself blossoming in ways she had never imagined, her art flourishing alongside her personal growth. The lessons she had learned about love, empathy, and resilience were now woven into the fabric of her everyday existence, guiding her toward a future filled with hope and happiness. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, casting a warm glow across the sky, Michael stood before Olivia with a bouquet of red roses in hand. His eyes shone with tenderness and love, mirroring the emotions that had been building between them. "Olivia, you are the best thing that's happened to me in years. Will you marry me?" Tears of joy welled in Olivia's eyes as she nodded, her heart swelling with happiness. "Yes, Michael, I will." Their embrace was a culmination of the journey they had undertaken together, a testament to the power of love and the beauty of new beginnings. As they walked toward the car, hand in hand, the evening city lights sparkled around them, reflecting the bright future that awaited. The wind rustled the autumn leaves, carrying with it the promise of countless tomorrows filled with peace, love, and artistic fulfillment. Olivia looked back one last time at the courthouse, now a symbol of her resilience and triumph. She had navigated the complexities of life with grace and empathy, emerging stronger and more compassionate. Her journey had taught her that true beauty lies in embracing one's authentic self, in standing up for what is right, and in finding love and happiness amidst the chaos. As she stepped into the car with Michael, Olivia felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the lessons learned and the love found. The past, with all its pain and struggles, had shaped her into the woman she had become, a woman of strength, empathy, and unwavering hope. Together, they embarked on a new chapter, ready to create a life filled with joy, understanding, and the enduring power of love. As Olivia settled into her new life with Michael, she couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought her here. From the depths of despair in the divorce court to the warmth of a loving home, every challenge had shaped her into the resilient and compassionate woman she had become. Her art flourished, capturing not only the beauty around her but also the profound emotions that life had taught her to embrace. Olivia had learned that true strength lies in vulnerability, and that empathy can bridge even the deepest divides. With Michael by her side and Ethan's joyful laughter filling their home, Olivia felt a sense of peace and fulfillment she had long yearned for. She knew that whatever the future held, she was ready to face it with an open heart and unwavering hope. Thank you for joining Olivia on her journey. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel to follow more inspiring life stories. Stay tuned for new videos that celebrate the resilience, love, and profound lessons we all share.